Good morning, everyone. Today we will start or study one more important topic, that is Green Revolution. Okay, Green Revolution, which is a very important topic. So basically, we are studying this topic from the perspective of the economics. Okay, in the agriculture sector. First and foremost thing we are going to study is the land reforms, and after that, another important development that we have to study is the Green Revolution. Okay, so why you have to study Green Revolution? Because this is an important episode in our economic history, or after the independence, one of the greatest successes that we have achieved. Okay, so you have to we can say overall it is a success story. Okay, one of the few success stories that we have recorded after the independence. Okay, we can say it is one of the greatest achievements of independent India. Because of that reason, you have to study and you have to take inspiration from this, the success of Green Revolution, how we with the Green Revolution, how we have addressed the problems that were prevailing at that time, right? How we could solve the problem of especially the agriculture sector of India and the hunger of the people. Okay, and we have to take inspiration from successes like these, and we have to replicate this success in some other sectors, or in other sectors or other areas where we are facing problem as a country. Okay, that is why you have to understand the success story. That is why you also have to study the Green Revolution. Apart from that, what are the methods that were used, how we started using these methods, and what were the outcomes of those methods, how that impacted the agriculture sector, how we could solve the problem of hunger. All these things, of course, we have to study, we have to know about them. But apart from that, the story also we have to understand of the Green Revolution, the story of the Green Revolution, because this is we can say it is one of the greatest successes achieved by independent India, and we should try and replicate this success in other sectors in which we are facing problems. Maybe in health, maybe in education, many other areas are there. So like that, we should try and replicate this success story in other sectors where we are facing problem. Okay, so like I told, this can be studied as part of economics. Okay, paper 3 GS, paper 3 we have economics. Apart from that, the questions can also be asked from the point of view of post independent Indian history. Okay, post independent India. Okay, there also it will become an important area to study. And apart from that, Indian society also. Okay, Indian society, how the Green Revolution has impacted the Indian society. It is also called as agrarian revolution. Okay, so how this agrarian revolution, Green Revolution, in sociology terms, it is also called as the agrarian revolution. And this how this agrarian revolution has impacted the Indian society. What is the impact on women? Then what is the impact? Okay, maybe on elderly. Okay, more than elderly, we have to study this one. Okay, what is its impact in rural areas? Okay, with respect to upper classes and lower classes, which sections of the people have developed because the Green Revolution, and which could not develop, which of the sections that could not develop. Okay, all these things you will study in the when you study Indian society and the impact of Green Revolution on the Indian society. Okay, so for these three areas, the topic is very important. Okay, you remember this, and whenever you try to study the Green Revolution, you try to study that in a comprehensive way, like this. You try to cover all the areas. Okay, right. For the time being, for our perspective, this for this class, we are going to study Green Revolution, or we are going to study Green Revolution from the economic perspective. Okay, or from the point of view of agriculture. Okay, we are studying this as part of GS3. Okay, GS3 in the sectors of economy. So first sector is the agriculture sector. Okay, So agriculture sector, when we study, we start with the land reforms. Then the first story we will study is land reforms. Okay. Land reforms, altogether we will say it is a failure. We could not achieve success in land reforms. So it led to a lot of consequences. That also you have to understand. That also you have to understand what will be the results when you have taken up a very big issue, and that is very very important. We should have implemented land reforms, very thoroughly and effectively, but unfortunately we could not do, and it led to a lot of problems, economic problems and also social problems. Okay, when you compare now the position of China, okay, and many other Asian countries or especially East Asian countries like Malaysia, Switzerland of course, sorry, not Switzerland, Singapore, of course it is a city state, but still land is, there were some reforms like in countries like Indonesia, Malaysia. Okay, and when we compare with those countries, we could not effectively implement the land reform. It led to a lot of problems, not only economic problems but also several social problems, like rural, especially poverty, especially in rural poverty. Then most of the people living under poverty line, still people are living below poverty line, and emergence of problems like Naxalism, etc. All these problems are there. So because of that reason, you have to understand the land reforms also. And the Green Revolution, second major development, Green Revolution, and you have to understand the Green Revolution also. Okay, so this is, we can say it is a success, though several consequences are not that good with respect to Green Revolution. Still we say Green Revolution is a success, and we have to study and understand about the Green Revolution also. Okay, so that is a brief background about the Green Revolution. Okay, now I think you have understood the context in which we have to study the Green Revolution. Okay, then we will go into the topic of Green Revolution, and we will try and understand the aspect. Okay, right. First of all, now you think about the word. What is the meaning of revolution? What is the meaning of green? And combinedly, what meaning they will give? Okay. So meaning of green revolution or definition of green revolution, it is saying something revolution. Okay, the word first we will try and understand. Revolution, what generally will be the meaning of the word revolution? Generally it tells us the sudden change. Okay, sudden change. You might have words like industrial revolution, okay, which has a common link with the green revolution. Okay, industrial revolutions means sudden increase or sudden change in the production of the industrial sector. Okay, on that line similarly, so revolution is sudden change. Generally it is taken as positive change. Okay, positive change. Okay, then what is the meaning of green? Green means something related to agriculture. Okay, in this context, we have to take it as agriculture or crops or farms. Okay, so it is a revolution or sudden change, sudden positive change in the agriculture sector. Okay, which means we can say there is huge sudden increase in the production of agriculture sector. Okay, that is the meaning of green revolution. Okay, right. But the not only in the Indian context, but if you see in the entire world, okay, first country to witness the green revolution in the world, that is Mexico. Okay, there is a great scientist called Norman Borlaug. Actually he belongs to United States of America, but he did his research in Mexico. Okay, so there he experimented with rice and wheat. Especially he has experimented with rice. Later the experiments were extended to wheat also. Okay, so there were, we will come to the point. There was a sudden increase in the production of agriculture. Agriculture means in our country, first there was sudden and drastic increase in the production of these two food grains, that is rice and wheat. So generally, when we are saying green revolution in our country, that is sudden increase in the production of the two important food crops, okay, or cereals, that are rice and wheat. Okay, when did it happen? It happened somewhere around 1969-70 in our country. Okay, from this year we can say this year is the beginning of green revolution in our country. Okay, so this is a brief understanding of the word green revolution. Okay, or we can also say this is the definition. Okay, so how did it start? How did it start? Briefly, if you have to understand the background of the green revolution. Okay, background of the green revolution. Right. Like I told, it started in Mexico. All started in Mexico. Okay. Right. So Mexico, there was a great scientist called Norman Borlaug. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Generally, he hails from United States of America, but he, did his research in the crops or on the crops in Mexico. So his focus was Norman Borlaug's focus was on increasing the food production in the developing countries. Okay, he has seen that many developing countries are facing problem. They are not having sufficient food for the consumption of their population. So he wanted to address that problem. Okay, so he wanted to address the food shortage or food problem in the developing countries. India also comes under the developing countries. Even Mexico also at that time was a developing country because it was also colonized. It was a colony. It was a colony of the people of Spain, Spanish colony. It was a Spanish colony. Okay, and there Mexico also people were facing problem, food grains problem, and almost all the developing countries which were colonized earlier, okay, they were facing the problem. So Norman Borlaug wanted to address this problem of food shortage for the developing country. So he started his research on basic food crops. Of course, in the world, entire world, you see the predominant two basic crops are these two only, okay, rice and wheat, okay, and he started his research in rice. So he developed a varieties called as or the varieties called as hybrid varieties. Okay, hybrid varieties means he has taken the qualities of various within the rice varieties. There are various varieties of rice. Okay, within rice there are varieties of rice. You'll wonder, only our country there are more than 1,000, sorry, not 1,000, 10,000 rice varieties or were there before the green revolution. We will understand how most of the rice varieties have disappeared. Okay, so there were varieties of rice, more than 10,000 rice varieties are there in our country only. So which have different qualities. Okay, which will mature only within 3 months, or some other varieties take maybe more than 4 months. Okay, then some varieties require only less water, some other varieties require huge water. Okay, then some varieties are prone to diseases. Okay, then some other are not prone to diseases, though they live, give, or they will take longer time to get mature or get harvested, but they are very much resistant to diseases. Okay, then some varieties give lot of production, or we can say productivity is good for some variety. Okay, but they are very much prone to pests or diseases. Okay, so all these varieties, each and every rice variety has some distinctive quality. Okay, so what the Norman Borlaug has done is he tried to, bring in all or some of the desirable qualities into a single variety. Okay, a single variety of rice crop or okay. So how this will be done? There are various methods like grafting, etc., etc. There are several methods. You need not go into those methods. You will study that is as part of science, basic sciences. In school, you might have studied grafting, etc., etc. Those are hybrid methods. So by using those hybrid methods, he tried to bring in some of the desirable methods from different qualities of rice or different varieties of rice into one type of rice variety, and because it is getting the features or characteristics from different types of rice varieties, the variety which was developed like that was called as hybrid variety. Okay, hybrid variety. Basically, the major focus or trait that northern borlaug focused is which are giving, which have good productivity. Means in small area, they might be cultivated in a small area. Okay, compared to that area, this crop or this variety will give lot of produce. Okay, produce. In other words, we can say it is they will give lot of, or the yield will be very high. Yield will be very high. Because of that reason, these hybrid varieties in the language of Green Revolution are called as high yielding varieties. Okay, high yielding varieties. Simply they are called as HYVs. Okay, we can say this use of high yielding varieties of seeds or HYVs is at the heart of the Green Revolution. Okay, so instead of cultivating one of these normal varieties which were at that time normally available, the farmers were encouraged to cultivate these hybrid varieties which are called as high yielding varieties. Simply they are called as HYVs. Okay, this is the important change that we have brought in through the Green Revolution. Okay, so where it was born? It was born in Mexico. Norman Borlaug experimented these high yielding varieties in Mexico and he was successful. Okay, from there the technology has been transferred to in Philippines, Manila. There is a rice research center. Okay, Manila also. In Manila there is a rice research center. So this technology developing hybrids was adopted by this research center in Manila, and from there our famous scientist or famous scientist from our country, you might be knowing his name. Okay, he is Swaminathan. Okay, MS Swaminathan. Okay, from there, from this Rice Research Institute of Manila, he has adopted this technology. When he also conducted certain researches, and he brought this technology to India. Okay, he brought this technology to India. Okay, so why he was worried about why India needed these hybrid varieties? Until now, I hope till here you have understood background. So in Mexico, the research was going on somewhere between 1950s and 1960s. Okay, around 1950s and 60s, especially in the 60s, the research was taking place. Okay, from there, it's somewhere around in the mid 1960s, it came to Manila, Philippines. From there, I told it came to India around 1969. 1969, we have started cultivating the hybrid varieties. Okay, then what was the need for us? Like I told, there is a shortage of food grains in the developing countries. Of course, our country was also facing that problem. Okay, so international background, you have understood why the green revolution has been started, or why the cultivation of high yielding varieties has been started, right? Then we will go little forward and see what happened in India. Okay, so British India means when we were ruled by the Britishers. Okay, India was known for famines. Okay, frequent recurrent famines. Okay, many people used to die in our country. That became a common phenomenon. Thousands of people used to die in our country. That became a very common phenomenon, and the Britishers were very much least concerned about that. Only thing they have done to address the famines in our country was they brought in a concept called as famine code. Okay, so whenever a famine emerges or erupts in a particular area, the famine code tells us that by using minimal resources. So first of all, they wanted to use only minimal money. Okay, they do not want to use lot of money to address famine. By using minimal money, how we can rescue the people from famine? Okay, okay, by doing something, by keeping them in shelters, by giving some sort of food for them, like that. I would say, by looking at this name, famine code, you will think this is a very generous measure, but it is not a generous measure. Okay, lot of Indians were dying. You will see when you study modern Indian history, you will see several these famines, especially the famines during the two world wars. Okay, two world wars, First World War and Second World War. Why? Why there were a lot of famines? Because the food grains have been diverted towards the war efforts. Okay, wars. Okay, why war efforts? Because soldiers, lot many soldiers have been recruited from these countries, the countries which were fighting in the fighting the world wars, especially Britain, France, Russia, etc. These countries who were the allied countries. Britain was ruling us, so Britain need food grains to feed its soldiers. But in UK, United Kingdom, people who are actually laborers or farmers, they have been recruited into army. Okay, nobody was cultivating food there, so the food that was grown in India forcefully was diverted to war efforts to feed the soldiers. Okay, it happened in during the both the world wars, or both the world wars. Okay, so the severity, of course there was famine in normal areas also because of the land revenue systems. Okay, you will understand the land revenue systems in the earlier in the modern Indian history classes, how these land revenue systems were exploitative. On one side they are just collecting land revenue from the farmers, but they did not provide any avenues for the farmers to invest on their land. So when famine occurs, even then also the farmers has to pay the rent land revenue, and they did not have anything to it. Because of that reason also many of the people were dying. So famines kind of become a common phenomenon in our country during the Britisher era. Okay, and unfortunately this situation lot much more aggravated during the vast period. And one example I want to give you, the famine that occurred in 1943, that was in Bengal. Okay, so it is called as Bengal famine, the worst famine in India in its entire history from the ancient time. Okay, it was the worst famine that witnessed in Bengal. So in, you believe, 40 lakh people have died or lost their lives in this famine. 40 lakh people have lost their lives in this Bengal famine. Okay, which is a very, very unfortunate situation. Why? You know very well, 1939 to 1945, the countries were fighting, World War was going on. So Britain, of course, Bengal was one of its dominant areas. It was dominating, British power was dominant in Bengal. So all the food grains they have collected and sent to feed the soldiers there. And what happened to Indian people? Simply they have died. Okay, which is a very, very unfortunate situation. Okay, so like that there were several famines. Okay, and this is the greatest famine. Before independence this happened, and after independence in 1950s and 1960s also we were facing problems. Especially the third 5-year plan, after the 5-year plans have been started, 1952, okay, 57, then 57 to 62, then 62 to, okay, 66. Actually it should run like 66, but we have stopped somewhere in 65 and 66 itself, because the third implementation of the third 5-year plan, because of the severe famine. Okay, severe famine, this is one more reason. And the second one is war with Pakistan. Okay, okay, war with Pakistan, because 1962, okay, 1962, Dalai Lama came to India, and in 1963, okay, all these things are interrelated. So you will understand them only you study this, the developments combinedly. China waged a war against us. Okay, or 1962, China waged a war against us. Taking this opportunity, Pakistan also, Pak also waged a war against us. So because of these wars, and because on the other side, because of the severe famine, okay, India was facing, and it has to withdraw the third 5-year plan between itself, and the famine was taking place. And in this context only, very well, in 1964, because of the heartbreak, because of the war with China, Nehru died. Okay, Nehru died, and after that, Lal Bahadur Shastri became the prime minister. Okay, Lal Bahadur Shastri became the prime minister, and he gave the call of Jai Jawan to win the war against these two countries, China and Pakistan, and Jai Kisan to address the issue of famine in our country. Okay, so that's how the slogan came, Jai Jawan and Jai Kisan. And you have to remember this slogan also, because this was asked once in the mains examination. Explain the background of this slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, given during the period of this 1960s. Okay, right. So this is the background. You see, there is a severe famine in our country, and we were importing food grains to meet our needs. One more example also we have to see. So this famine was taking place, and we do not have the food grains to eat because of the continuous famines. Okay, during 1960s we have seen continuously 2 to 3 years famine, and on that side we were facing wars. Okay, right. So apart from that, to meet or to fill this gap, we were importing food grains. Okay, importing food grains from United States of America. Okay, this program was called as PL 480 program. Okay, so what is PL 480? How this name has come? This is the name of a ship which actually was carrying food grains from United States of America to India. Basically, it was wheat. So, what were the food grains, or what was the wheat that was carried to India? So United States of America, it stores or stocks some of the wheat to meet the emergency situation whenever there is a famine, etc., etc. So after 2 to 3 years, this wheat will become or the wheat will be deteriorated. Means nutrients in this wheat will be got reduced. Then they will think that this will not be fit for consumption. So they used to throw this wheat in the ocean. Then we have asked the United States of America to, instead of throwing this wheat in the ocean, you please supply to us. Okay, we do not have sufficient food to consume. So United States of America agreed, and it was supplying through this ship the wheat, which was actually to be thrown into the ocean, and we were getting that wheat and we were consuming. Okay, right. And one more thing you have to understand also, the Vietnam War was taking place somewhere around 1973, I guess. Okay, at this time Vietnam War was taking place, and India criticized the United States of America that whatever the USA is fighting the war with Vietnam, that is unethical. Okay, that was the statement given by our Prime Minister at that time. Prime Minister was Mrs. Indira Gandhi, and because of that statement, the United States of America threatened India that we will stop this food program or supply of food grains to you. Okay, if you criticize us. Okay, that was the scenario. Okay, in this background only, when India was facing severe crisis, and Indira Gandhi once again came to power through the slogan of Garibi Hatao. Okay, so in this background only, our important person will come into the scene, that is MS Swaminathan. Okay, and he says that we will develop hybrid varieties. Okay, there are hybrid varieties which actually I have developed. Just we have to encourage our farmers to cultivate these high yielding varieties. Okay, then food production will increase. Okay, right. First of all, nobody was ready to accept this proposal of cultivating hybrid varieties, because we know very well in the history we are very much afraid of new technology. Okay, even when the computers were introduced, we were very much apprehended, or we faced a lot. People have felt threatened that computers are going to make the people unemployed. Okay, And similarly, when railways were introduced in India, then also people, feared like anything. Same thing happened when this MS Swaminathan asked to use these high yielding varieties, including the political leaders. Okay, they are very much apprehensive about this idea. But however, at that time there was a minister, agriculture minister, and MS Swaminathan was able to convince this minister, okay, central minister for agriculture, and this minister agreed, and he in turn convinced Mrs. Indira Gandhi to go for the introduction of high yielding varieties. Okay, so then from the 1969 onwards, okay, we have started introducing this high yielding varieties. We have provided this high yield varieties for very cheaper rates, subsidized rates for the farmers, and we have encouraged them to cultivate the cultivate these high yielding varieties. Okay. At the time, two programs. It was not called as Green Revolution at the time when this program, these seeds were introduced in 1960s itself. Integrated IAAP, Integrated Agriculture Area Program, and Integrated Agriculture District Program, IADP and IAAP. You have to remember these names. These are very, very important. Integrated Agriculture Area Program in Intensive Area Agriculture Program and Intensive District Agriculture Program, or something like that. Intensive Area District Program, something like that. Two programs have been started. Okay, and these two programs means these two programs identified the areas where the high yielding varieties have to be cultivated. Okay, and in these areas when we have started cultivating these high yielding varieties, we have seen a drastic increase in the production of food grains. Okay, huge increase in the production of food grains, especially the wheat, okay, and rice. Okay, so this progress has been witnessed. 1969 they have been introduced. Okay, 1969-70. So next year also we have seen, this year also we have seen increase in production. Then this next year also we have seen lot of increase. Next year also we have increase. We have seen further increase on the previous year, and next year lot more increase than this year. Okay, like that the food grain production has started to increase like drastically. Okay, so because of this drastic increase in the production, we have witnessed, the scientists have seen a phenomenon of increase in the production of food grains, and this phenomenon has been named as green revolution. Okay, right. Okay, so that's how MS Swaminathan, because of this initiative or because of this contribution, he is being called as the father of green revolution in India. Okay, and this actually the name slipped out of my mind, the minister. Okay, I will give you the name in the comments. Okay, so this minister, at the time he was the Union Minister for Agriculture, and he used to be or come to be known as the political father of green revolution. Okay, political father of green revolution. Okay, how it started all with this program. Okay, right. So basically with the introduction of high yielding varieties, the green revolution has begun in our country. What it resulted in? It resulted in huge increase in the production of the food grains. Okay, right. So this is the background and the beginning of the green revolution in the country. Okay, now we will see what are the other things that are associated with the green revolution. Okay, what are the other things that are associated with the green revolution? Okay, right. One thing we have understood, that is cultivation of the high yielding varieties. Okay, one thing we have seen, that is cultivation of or use of, simply I will write HYVs. Okay, what are HYVs? We have understood they are simply hybrids which have the desirable qualities. Okay, which will give lot of production, or within an area if you take productivity Okay, productivity or production will be high or yield will be high for these varieties, and they will come to maturity very early, maybe in 3 months. Okay, like that. Okay, so this is the very important component of green revolution I have explained. This is at the heart of green revolution. Then you see the second thing. Okay, what is the second thing? That is providing irrigation. Okay, or I would say assured irrigation. Okay, so what is the meaning of this one, assured irrigation? Earlier, what was the phenomenon? Earlier in our country, we used to depend on rainfall. Okay, rainfall means most of the times, or for the most of the country, we used to get the monsoons or rainfall in the during the southwest monsoon. Okay, southwest monsoon, this is the major source for our country with respect to this, irrigation. Generally, what is the period? From June to October. Okay, this is the period of green revolution. So this is the period of 4 months we have. During this period, rainfall used to be available in our country, monsoons. Okay, so we used to cultivate a crop. Okay, cultivate a crop which is actually taking help of these monsoons. That's it. In an entire year, 1 year you take. Okay, there is cultivation of only one crop. Okay, that too which is depending on this monsoon. If monsoon fails, that's it, this crop will also fail. That is end of the chapter. Okay, okay, now we have changed this through during the time of green revolution. Instead of simply depending on the southwest monsoons, okay, we have tried to provide assured irrigation irrespective of the rainfall. Assured irrigation means whether rain will come or not. Of course rain will come, but not depending on the time and occurrence of the rainfall. We have provided other source of irrigation. How it was made? It was made through the canals, by building canals. Okay, for the rivers, dams have been built. From those dams, water has been diverted into canals, and these canals have been taken deep into the agricultural lands. Okay, especially these canals have been developed in the region of Punjab, Haryana, okay, and western UP, western Uttar Pradesh. Okay, this area, especially this area, actually it is known as the heartland of green revolution, but I will explain little bit later. Okay, so especially in this region, Punjab, Haryana and western UP region, canals have been developed. Okay, one more thing, small thing we have to understand, why this area has been chosen for cultivating these high yielding varieties. Okay, the reason is the land is very much fertile here. Okay, the Ganga, the Ganga Yamuna Doab or great plains of India, they basically fall in this region. These three states, Punjab, Haryana and western UP, land is very much fertile, so lot much production we can have. That's why these high yielding varieties are being introduced in this region. Okay, basically green revolution means you have to understand the predominant region where green revolution was introduced and was made successful was this region, Punjab, Haryana and western UP region. Okay, so canals, not only we have dug canals, but we have dug these wells, open wells also, and sometimes tube wells are also dug. Okay, tube wells. Okay, so for canals there is no need for electricity, but for wells and tube wells, to get the water from them, diesel motors have been introduced. Okay, diesel motors or electricity motors. Tube wells require electricity and normal wells require diesel motors. Okay, motors, then electric pump sets. Okay, right. So in this way we try to provide irrigation. What is the advantage with the irrigation? Providing assured irrigation. One thing is the crops have now assured of irrigation. Okay. Then you see the second advantage, very important advantage. Earlier we were getting only one crop. Now we can have more than two crops. Okay, how it is possible? Okay, during the June and October period, 4 months, we have extracted one crop. After that, earlier we were not growing any crops. Why? Rainfall was not available. Now through these canals, wells, tube wells. Okay. Still further, we were able to provide irrigation. Okay. We are now in a position to provide irrigation. Then that after this October, maybe during November, December, January, February, until that time, we can reap one more crop. Okay. Why? Because we have now irrigation. Okay. So more than 2 crops were possible. In some regions, you will also see 3 cultivation of 3 crops. After February, March, April, May, this summer season, you will also see another cultivation of another crop, maybe fruits and vegetables. Okay. So this season, June to October, season is known as, you know very well, this season is Kharif season, and this next season, okay, November, December, January, February. Okay, this region, this period is known as Rabi season. Okay, this is very much suitable for wheat cultivation. This season is suitable for wheat cultivation, Rabi season. It requires a lot of cold weather, cold climate. Wheat requires cold climate. Then this season is very much suitable for rice. Okay. Then third season we are talking about, that is Zayan. Okay. This season is suitable for cultivation of generally horticultural crops, that are fruits, vegetables. Okay. Fruits, vegetables, and even some flowers also we can cultivate. Okay. So now more than 2 crops can be cultivated in the same land plot. Okay. This is the second major initiative that we have taken. Okay. Then now we will come to the third change that we have seen during the Green Revolution. Okay. Third change. What is the third change? Use of fertilizers or synthetic fertilizers. Okay. Right. Earlier, what were the fertilizers we are using? Those are normal organic fertilizers or natural fertilizers, which is basically the cow dung. Okay. Okay. Or the waste, animal waste, like from goats and the sheep, which people keep. Okay. This was then, if any other residue is there, crop residue. Okay. Maybe from wheat, maybe from rice, maybe from maize. So any crop residue is there, that residue was also used as a fertilizer or manure, we can say. Instead of calling them fertilizer, the best word is manure. Okay. So this manure is being used as the as a source for increasing the nutrients in the soil. Okay. That was the practice. Now we have, instead of using the natural manure, okay, we have started using synthetic fertilizers. Synthetic fertilizers means artificially prepared fertilizers in the factories. Okay. So fertilizers have been created basically for 3 nutrients. The 3 nutrients, that is NPK. Okay. Nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Okay. You will study this in advanced classes or maybe in science and technology. NPK is basically for nitrogen, giving nitrogen we use urea. For increasing phosphorus we use diammonium phosphate. Okay. DAP. Then for giving potash we use MOP. Okay. Muriate of potash. These are the 3 basic fertilizers that have been developed or prepared artificially in the fertilizer companies or fertilizer factories, and they have been supplied to the farmers. So farmers started applying these synthetic fertilizers on their fields. Okay. Basically these are the 3 major important fertilizers. Then another development or another change was the use of pesticides. Okay. Then what is the requirement for, what is the need for use of fertilizers? Sorry, pesticides. Right. We have seen these varieties, hybrid varieties we are using. Okay. So these hybrid varieties are which very much prone to the pests. Okay. Pests means weeds, various type, insects. They are very much prone to these pests. Means they attract lot of insects. Okay. Which either attack this crop and they eat it, or they will cause diseases. Those are called as insects or pathogens. Okay. That was not the problem with the normal varieties naturally that were growing on the environment. But because we have prepared these hybrids, they are very resistant to these kind of diseases because naturally they did not acquire resistance. They have been prepared, artificially hybrid varieties. So they were very much prone to these insects or pathogens. So to take away them, okay, to address this, pesticides have been prepared again once again synthetically, and they have been sprayed on the crops, okay, to control these pests or insects or pathogens, okay. And in some cases certain pesticides have been used to control the weeds also. What are the weeds? This is the undesirable plants that grow on the field. Undesirable plants that grow along with the crops. So to address these weeds, unwanted plants also in certain pesticides have been used. Okay, this is another change that was brought into the green revolution. Then very important next change is the use of machinery or the introduction of machinery. Okay, introduction of machinery. This is another change. Okay, introduction of machines. Introduction of machines. Okay. This is also alternatively called as mechanization of agriculture. Okay. This is also called as mechanization of agriculture. Okay. So what is this mechanization of agriculture? We have earlier using the manual labor. Okay. Manual labor to do the agricultural activities. Okay, but every work is being done by the people. Manually it is being done. Okay, it is a slow process. It is a time taking process. Sometimes it may be efficient and some other times it may not be efficient. Manual labor. Okay, and sometimes labor may not be available. Okay, to address all these issues and to do the economic activities or agricultural activities much more efficiently, machines have been started or machines have been introduced into the agricultural activity. Machines means generally tractors and the implements, okay, like plovers, threshers, etc., all these things that are mentioned or mounted on the tractor. Okay, mounted on the tractors. Okay, nowadays you will see lot of equipment that is mounted on the tractors to do various agricultural activities. Okay, so this was also introduced during the or as part of the green revolution. Okay, mechanization of agriculture. Okay, why? To replace the manual labor in the agricultural sector. It has a lot of advantages and some disadvantages also, but we will see the disadvantages in the shortcomings of the green revolution. Okay, and okay, these are all the things. Okay, so all these things have been, it is expected that the farmer should take all these things or purchase all these things and the farmer start doing the agriculture. First of all, he has to purchase the seeds, high yielding varieties, which are little bit costlier. Then he has to have this irrigation. He may have to dug a tube well, or he may have to purchase a diesel engine to get the water to his field. Then he require money for purchasing fertilizers. Then he require money for purchasing these pesticides. Then he also requires purchasing this machines, okay, or to take the machines on rent to do these agricultural activities. For that the farmer of course requires money. Okay, then to do that, okay, to do that to do that first thing is all these have been provided with the subsidized rates. Okay, means there are lot of government in the cost of these all these things including seeds, fertilizers, pesticides and machinery. the government itself provided lot of subsidy means it bear the burden or cost, lot of the cost is shared by the government. Only few, okay, few percentage of the cost has to be shared by the farmer. Okay, this is one way. Then other way of making the farmers, enabling the farmers to purchase all these things is providing credit. Okay, so instead of government giving the money directly to the farmers, it asks the banks to provide farmers the credit at very cheaper interest rates. Cheaper interest rates. Okay, right. So in this way also the government help the farmers to get all these inputs, including the working capital required, so that farmers can do this agriculture in this way. Okay, one more method the government has done is electricity. Okay, having electricity or running this machinery required, especially running this irrigation equipment, generally the motors, diesel motors or electricity motors. So for diesel motors, diesel has been subsidized. Okay, okay, then electricity is also provided at very cheaper rates, okay, to the farmers, so that farmers can utilize, take advantage of that, and they can have irrigation for their farms. Okay, so generally which is the area generally targeted, that is Punjab, Haryana and Western UP region. Right. So basically the regions targeted for Green Revolution are Punjab, Haryana and Western UP regions. Some other regions are also there, like coastal Andhra, Andhra Pradesh, coastal EP and some regions of Tamil Nadu where water availability is there, and certain regions in Madhya Pradesh, okay, and some regions in West Bengal also. They have been targeted, where actually the regions that were targeted are, one thing is they have seen is whether land is fertilizer or not, or land is fertile or not, and second thing they have seen is whether water is available or not. But first preference is given to the regions where land is fertile. Okay, water was given the second preference. This also led to a lot of problems, because only the people have, they have seen whether land is fertile or not. The cultivation of these crops, especially the rice, requires lot of water. Okay, but unfortunately, the western part of our country, western region, it is has water scarcity. Water availability is less in this region. Rainfall is not that much in the western region. But during the Green Revolution, we have targeted this western region only. The reason is that region had fertile lands. It led to a lot of other problems also. Now the region is facing water scarcity. Groundwater has been depleted because of the over extraction over a sustained period, continuously for 4 to 5 decades. That region become very dire with respect to groundwater, because huge extraction of groundwater for cultivating crops like rice. Okay, those problems, all these things we will study the impact of Green Revolution. Okay, right. So these are the regions, and basically, okay, so because to fulfill all these inputs, farmers have been provided subsidized equipment, subsidized seeds, then subsidized electricity. They even more, and apart from that, the farmers were also made made eligible for getting the credit on very less interest rates, or at very interest rates that or we can call that as subsidized interest rate. Okay, or at subsidized interest rates. Okay, so this is the story of Green Revolution. Okay, the result is, finally you have to know the result. Because of this, within 10 years, means from 1969-70 we have started. By the year of 1970 or 1980, there was more than okay, so within these 10 years there was a huge increase in the total production of the food grains. Okay, there was huge increase in the total production of the food grains. Okay, then there was food grains, then there was huge increase in the production of wheat and rice also. Okay, so within these 10 years, wheat production is more than doubled. Okay, more than doubled. Okay, then rice production also it was increased is close to twice. Okay, rice production at the time was approximately 10 million tons. Within this 10 years, or not even within 10 years, by 1975-76 itself, it has reached 18.6 million tons, something like that. Okay, in the next class, tomorrow's class, how there was a drastic increase in the food production, I will explain with complete figures. Okay, for this class, for the purpose of this class, you remember there was huge production in the total food grains in the country within the next 10 years, and there was huge production. The wheat production has actually more than doubled within that period of time. Within the period of just 10 years, little bit here and more, here and there. In the period of 10 years, the wheat production has been more than doubled. Then rice production also, it was production improvement in the production was almost close to twice or close to double. Okay, so this is the drastic change that we could achieve through the green revolution. Now if you see, the food production in our country is reached, in food production, only food production, we have crossed 440 million tons. Okay, now production is approximately between 330 million tons to 340 million tons, only food grains production. Okay, so you see this number somewhere we were there in our country, food grain production was between 20 to 30 million tons at that time. Okay, now you see we have reached the position of 330 million tons. Okay, you can see the change. Okay, so because of this green revolution only, we could address the problem of food shortage. Okay, so within this period, within this 5-6 years gap, we have addressed the food shortage. First, we have become the food sufficient country, or food wise we have become self sufficient, means we were able to provide sufficient food grains for our own consumption. That is called as food sufficiency. Then next, not only we have become food self sufficient, now we have become now we have become a surplus country. Surplus country with respect to food production, means now we are producing food grains or food that is more than required for our own consumption. So this surplus we are exporting it. Okay, we are exporting it to other countries. Okay, so this is the story of the green revolution. Okay, but this is not the end. Now first of all we have to see third way. For the purpose of writing in the mains, we need figures. How much increase in the rice, how much increase there in the wheat, then how much change is there in the total food production, then what are the positive impacts, what are the negative impacts, then what are the solutions for the addressing the negative consequences of green revolution. All these things we will discuss in the next class. Okay, that class will be, I will be calling that class as green revolution 2. So whenever you watch green revolution this class, we also continuously watch that topic also. Okay, so with this we will end this topic here. In the next session we will discuss about the green revolution 2. There we will discuss the outcomes of the green revolution, then its positive impact, then its negative consequences or negative impact, then finally we will see the probable solutions for the negative impacts of green revolution. Okay, right. So with this we will end this class here. I'll see you next time. Until then.